It's a different kind of heat as the sun moves south. That's about a third of its way on its journey to the low point of the year on December 22nd, so it doesn't linger when the sun goes down, but certainly nice to have the wind here when it's 102, 103 with hangover humidity from the last batch of storms that came through. It puts the heat index well north of 100. So anyway, it was a good weekend, enjoying the last couple of weeks of summer. It is that time of the year when it's supposed to be hot. Came in this morning and did read a lot of weekend news. Things are pretty unsettled when you get down to it. It's there's nothing that just jumps out and bites you, but there's just all sorts of little things that are going on right now that really don't make anybody feel very comfortable being long the stock market past your investment guidelines or anything else. So we came in this weekend, the attacks from Gaza into Israel precipitated an attack on the building that supposedly held their communications center. Russia put out a little deal saying, you know, is the United States fit to lead anymore? And, you know, nothing will come from that except people will ask that question. And when you look at what's going on in the United States right now with our leaderships, the inconsistencies, the withdrawal from areas where we've provided some stability and some consistency, a statement like that by Russia, who is on the ascendant right now, and we're on the, we are descending right now. I mean, it has its impact. China came out, you know, the two biggest nations in the world that hack other people's systems maliciously are China and Russia, and they came out and said, you know, we're going to promote our own operating system. We're not going to use Google's. We're not going to use Apple's. We're not going to use Microsoft's anymore. And it'll take a while to get there, but you just kind of put all of this together, and it creates a situation of unease. And Iraq supposedly lost their newly formed government. They couldn't get a coalition formed. And a lot of that could have been at the end of last week. Shia went to a Sunni mosque during services when everybody was going to be there and killed 70 people. And that could have been expressly to prevent the forming of this new government. So you put it all together, and the rest of it, it's just, you're kind of scratching your head and wondering, you know, what should I do with my money? And that keeps you sidelined, or it has you invest in treasuries. The comments from Jackson Hole were kicked around a lot last weekend, and the consensus of the opinion is that the U.S., the Fed, is hawkish. The European Central Bank is dovish, so rates in the euro from the European Central Bank will at least stay where they are and or head lower, and rates for the United States will stay where they are or move higher. So you got two shots at making money compared to investing in the European Union, and you can get it from a coupon. You get a higher return on your money, plus the dollar is appreciating too. So you have a couple of reasons to buy. So that is where why I would say the financials are holding in and are still pointed higher when everything is said and done. Now, that doesn't mean it can't sell, but what it does mean is that we should get a retest of resistance. And you can see that these two lows right here at 5 and 6, we've got highs up here at 9.5 and 7.5. So this, say, 6 to 9 area is pretty good resistance. Obviously, you got to get through the overnight session high at 2.5 before you can get up there too. So based on Friday's selling, 3.5 was a high, 5 was a high, 2 at a ledge at 6, and we got this high up here at 7.5 to 9.5. So selling 3s to 7s, I think, is reasonable given the lack of news, and then selling, coming back into this area, this 9 to 13 area would be sell 2. On the buy side, we've got the single print down at 29, so 25, 29 looks reasonable to start. And we're going to use the strength in the E-mini to help get us down to that area. And then 21 to 17 will be buy 2. So the strength in the E-mini is attributed to the weak euro. And sometimes the strength in the E-mini is attributed to the strong euro. So there always has to be a reason, whether it makes sense or not. Okay, now if the market is stronger, then I think it is going to take 01s to get off the long. So we'll have to see what happens on that first rotation. So if we don't really crack the 125, 31, 126 area, we're going to have to pay up to get long. Okay, another dynamic that we'll be facing this week is it's an auction week, and the knob spread really gained quite a bit over the weekend, and the 2, 5, and 7-year paper is easier to move than the 3, 10, and 30, but we had a great auction on the 3, 10, and 30, and the knob spread is increasing for the reasons that we talked about. And it will also be the end of the month come I guess what, Friday on the 29th, with Sunday coming on the 31st and the long weekend. So there are also, reasons for institutional money managers to stay away from the sell buttons. Okay, the knob spread is strong. The first sell will show up at 31 to 03. I really like the long side better, but that is resistance. And then the next will be 7 to 11. So our number 2 sell zone out makes a little more sense. On the buy side, we have these single prints down here at 21, so we'll try 17s to 21s. May have to move it up. And then 9s to 13s for buy 2. But the financials do look strong, and I think they're strong for flight to quality. People aren't real comfortable with what's going on in the world just yet. And the U.S. economy has a better chance of performing and getting strong than the European economy does. So there could be some reason to buy ours other than flight to quality, as in chance to make money off increasing economic strength. Okay, gold has held in there, didn't really break, didn't really move much. Gold has actually been pretty quiet. I don't think anything has changed. We like the 75 area, give or take. And in this 69 to 70 area, the same reasons that you'd buy the financials are why you would buy gold. Strength in our economy would cut off some of the buying. You're not fearful that with the Fed printing more money, so that's definitely taken some out of it. If you look at the break right here, this 84, 85 area, so we'll get started trying to sell 84s, 86s. May have to bring it in a little bit, but with no news going, my guess is it's pretty easy to move it a little higher and at least get up and retest resistance and maybe get stops above that. And then we'll make 88 to 90 for sell 2. Hard to say what's going to happen with the attacks against ISIS. There's talk that the United States will now be forming a coalition with Syria. And I mean, if you think about the flips, we backed Syria early on before the shooting started out, and Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, the administration have all been over and visited with Assad. Then Assad became the bad guy, and because of ISIS or ISIL, he may be becoming the good guy again. And it's this inconsistency or incoherent policies that really can weigh on the markets over time. And one of the things, and I fault Bush for it, is that one of the reasons that they have cited, and it's been a part of this administration's policy too, is the democracy project. We're going to bring democracy to the Middle East. I mean, if that is not a fool's game, I mean, I don't know what is. They just do not have the history. It's not a part of their religion. It's not a part of their philosophy or anything else, this individual liberty and freedom. It's all top down. And if you look at Islam, one leader, one central authority, etc. So, I mean, it's just embedded in the culture. And to think that you can come in one election create a democracy is pretty foolish. So, as distasteful as you might think it is, you have to back the dictators that, you know, do what you want to do for the most part. And but we swing back and forth, you know, and it doesn't make sense in a lot of it just doesn't make sense logically when you get to it. Okay, we got resistance at 94, so selling into 94 makes some sense. I can get my mouse right here, so 94, 94.25, maybe just into 94 will be sell one. And our 50 to 75, pretty much where it was in the weekend. We're one headline away from a explosive move higher. We rejected prices below 40. Kind of have a mixed profile right here. Volume leans P, TPOs lean B, so we'll make 93, 93, 95 is the buy one. And then 250, 275 is buy two. And you can just see we have a seller at 94.50 and we've got a buyer at 92.50 and we're right here at 93.50. We're kind of in the middle. So we're really looking to sell 94s to 94.50s and buying the 92.50 to 93. It's been a good trade for us and I don't think that's going to change. And right here we're kind of stuck in the middle if you just look at the charts structurally. One of the things, again, that really is, you know, why do we befriend Saudi Arabia? Why do we befriend Qatar when they're financing a great deal of the terrorist activity around the world? They've made a deal with the Wahhabis, and they fund them, and then the deal is you don't attack us. And the reason is that, you know, given the choices and, you know, given the alternatives, it may not be the most tasteful thing, but it is what is. And you cannot forget that internationally. There's only 5 nations in the world, and they all come from England, the Anglophile world, where democracy has really worked well. And then if you look at Japan and Germany, the reason it has worked there is that we've had forces on their soil for, 70 years now, and it's pretty hard for them not to do it. And you have a couple of generations now where they have done it. Okay, looking at the euro got slammed, and the reasons given were, and I mean, it's not due to any new piece of news, it's just the assessment of what was said in Jackson Hole. Yeah, you could add Tunisia and Algeria before things broke out too, Reg, back in the old days. So we've got this gap, and gaps tend to be filled, so selling this 20 to 30 area would be ideal. And then 40 to 50. And on the buy side, we've busted lower, so the 130, 150 obviously is a trading target. And based on where support is right now, we'll just stops below the overnight session low, so we'll make 75 to 85 buy one. and then we'll make 50 to 60 by 2. I don't think we can bust 50 today. But the articles over the weekend said that the euro was headed lower because interest rates were going to stay low and or get lower. And the economy is weak, and that's why this is being done. And it's not new news. We've been playing that for, what, 6 months now? Okay, the E-mini. The E-mini is pointed higher. We've been pointed towards 2,000 for as long as I can remember. We are very, very close right now. The articles over the weekend said we're higher because of weakness in the euro. My guess is that you've had this trading target and this market expectation for 2,000 forever, so we're headed there. If we go through 2,000, that becomes support. The next target that has been written about in the press, which is the drop dead, fall down line for all the bears out there, is 2,200. But if what was resistance becomes support, this thing tends to move in 100. So there's no reason not to expect it to get to 2,100 if the game remains the same. Central bank support of the markets. So we have a pretty clean break here in the market. This 90.92 area or 94.50. We reject prices below 93. So maybe stops below 93. We'll make 90.92 by 1. We do like the long side of the market. Better trade is 85.87. You can see what this last rotates down. So this would be buy 2. On the sell side, again, selling failure to take out 98, 2,000, and then selling 3s to 5s. Today's news, new home sales, 430,000. The markets may focus. You have the Chicago Activity Index at plus 0.2. That shows economic growth. No one pays any attention to that, but new home sales, there's a lot of smoothing that gets into that number. Sometimes it can be as low as 20,000, can give you a number over 400,000. We have PMI services at 62. Most people usually think that markets PMI numbers overstate the case, but this one would be the first piece of news that hits. The focus will be new home sales. And then you have Dallas Fed at 13.5, which shouldn't cause much of an impact, but if it comes in higher than forecast, we maintain the economic growth scenario. And we do have modest economic growth for right now. Okay, we got a B pattern in the overnight session. If we can't get through and make new highs, it's a reasonable sell. Like I said, the last rotate down on Friday was in the 84, 86 area. We had settlement in the 87, 88. So buying this 90 area makes sense. And then definitely buying the 85, 87 area makes sense. That's all I have for right now. It'll take 20 minutes to get everything up and around. I will do that as fast as I can. We'll put the financials up because their day session opens here in 8 minutes, and I'll be back with you as soon as possible.